Hey everybody, Coach Lindsay here. Today we're going to be diving into something that can make all of the difference in your career journey: effective interviewing in today's marketplace. You know what's funny about job interviews? They're basically this elaborate dance where everybody's pretending. The company acts like they're perfect, you act like you're perfect, and somehow in this theater of mutual exaggeration, we're supposed to figure out if we actually want to work together. It's like a first date where both people are showing up wearing Spanx and nobody mentions their therapy sessions. The interviewer is thinking, please be competent and not a nightmare to work with, while you're desperately hoping, please don't have a toxic culture and pay me what I'm worth. And both of you are smiling and nodding like everything's great. But here's the thing: beneath this negotiated lie is an opportunity for something real. What if we approached interviews differently? What if instead of just trying to get the job, we focused on finding the right fit? So whether you're a recent graduate ready to take on the world or somebody looking to make an exciting career change, I want to help you show up as your most confident and prepared self. I remember one of my first big interviews right out of school. I had an interview for a pharmaceutical rep position at Pfizer that I really, really wanted. And I spent so much time worrying about saying the perfect thing that I forgot to just show up and be present and myself. So I know how super stressful interviewing can be. But I want to help you slow the entire process down so that you can avoid some of the common mistakes that I see all of the time. Let's talk about how to prepare for your interview. Now, this step is absolutely crucial, and I want to break it down into 3 specific areas. First, we're going to talk about researching the company. You're not just applying for any job. You're applying to become part of an organization with its own culture, values, and challenges. The best way to research a company is to review its website and search for news articles or blog posts about it. Try learning about the company's products, their business model, their values, and the challenges that it's currently facing. One of my clients that I was working with, they were interviewing for this marketing position. And instead of just memorizing the company's mission statement, they took the time to really understand what the company's recent product launches looked like and the challenges that they were facing in the marketplace. When the interviewer asked the question, "Why do you want to work here?" my client could speak authentically about how their skills match the company's specific needs. They ended up getting the job, and later the manager actually shared that it was that level of research that set them apart from all of the other candidates. Second, I want you to prepare for those common questions. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to memorize robotic answers. It's actually the opposite of what we want. But you do want to have a framework for your responses. That's where the magic happens. So for behavioral questions, and these are the ones that typically start with, "Tell me about a time when," I want you to try using the STAR method. STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. This gives your answers a natural structure that interviewers love. So if you're asked about a challenge that you faced, instead of freezing up, you're ready to share the situation, the task that you needed to accomplish, the actions that you took, and the results that you achieved. Ultimately, that's what interviewers really want to know: how you handle real situations. Third, and this is where things are changing so rapidly, I want to talk about using AI as a resource. So AI interview prep tools can actually help to analyze and enhance your interview skills through personalized feedback and simulated interviews. These tools can be incredibly valuable, especially for practicing your responses and getting feedback on your communication style. One of my favorite tools is Google's interview warm-up. This is going to let you practice answering questions and gives you insights on your response patterns. Another option is Interview Buddy. That one's going to provide real-time feedback on all of your answers. I do want you to remember, though, AI is just a tool. It can help you prepare, but it can't replace your authentic self. You're choosing to use this technology as support, not as a replacement for your unique value. Okay, so let's slow down the process a little bit and talk about the day of the interview. How are you choosing to show up? Regardless of whether you're interviewing in person or over video chat, these rules are going to apply in both situations. First, presentation matters. One common piece of advice that we always hear is dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have. So in other words, it's generally best to err on the side of being too dressy rather than too casual. A good rule of thumb here is to dress one step above what employees typically wear at the company. But remember, presentation isn't just about your clothes, right? It's your overall presence. So are you rushing in at the last minute? Are you flustered or out of breath? Are you arriving with enough time to center yourself and regulate your nervous system and walk in with this calm confidence? I had a client who always felt overwhelmed before interviews. We worked on a pre-interview routine where she was able to arrive 15 minutes early, do 3 minutes of deep breathing in the car, and then set an intention for how she wanted to feel when she was in the room. She told me that this simple practice completely changed the way that she interviewed and shifted her experience from one of anxiety to one of genuine connection. I also want you to remember that first impressions happen fast. Remember, you only get one chance to make that first impression. Be prepared to summarize your experience in about 30 to 60 seconds and describe what you bring to the position. Third, and this is so important, I shouldn't have to say this, but I'm going to anyway. Turn off your phone and put it away. Nothing says that I'm not fully present like a buzzing phone during your interview. This interview is your moment. Choose to be fully there for it. Now, let's talk about how you present yourself during the actual interview. This is where all of that preparation meets opportunity. First, we're going to talk about active listening. Actively listening involves demonstrating that you are attentive and engaged. Listen carefully to each question. Make eye contact. And don't rush to answer before you understand what's being asked. If you need clarification, it's totally okay to ask. That shows thoughtfulness, not weakness. Second, authenticity. I cannot stress this enough. Being authentic doesn't mean being unprofessional. It means being the best, most genuine version of yourself. Interviewers can sense when somebody is putting on a performance versus when someone is being real. I once coached a client who kept getting feedback that they seemed stiff in interviews. We worked on connecting their answers to genuine enthusiasm for the work. So instead of saying, I'm detail-oriented, they shared a story about how their attention to detail helped solve a problem with all of the natural excitement that they felt. The difference was night and day. Third, I want you to remember that interviews go both ways. This is so important. You're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. So what questions are you asking to determine if this is the right place for you? I love questions like, what does success look like in this role after 6 months? How would you describe the team culture and the management style? What are the biggest challenges the team or the company is facing right now? How does your company support professional development? These questions are going to help you gather vital information about the work environment, the expectations, and their values. Remember, you're not just looking for any job. You're looking for the right job for you. I want to share a quick story here. So I had a client who was so excited to get an offer at a prestigious company that they completely ignored all of the warning signs from the interview. The manager who seemed dismissive, the team members who looked exhausted, the vague answers about work-life balance. 3 months in, they were miserable. But now they know that the interview isn't just about impressing the company, but about really seeing if there's mutual value. So is that true for you? Are you going into interviews with questions that will help you evaluate if this is the right fit for your goals, your values, and your well-being? There's a big difference between taking a job and building a career that you love. Finally, I want you to highlight your value. Each answer is an opportunity to show how your specific skills and experiences make you valuable in this role. When you share a story or example, always bring it back to what value that brings to this potential employer. But also consider, is this a place where your values will be valued? Finally, let's talk about what to do after the interview is over. This is where a lot of candidates miss an opportunity. The first thing is always thank the interviewer by name for their time before you leave. It's super simple, but also incredibly important. You want to use their name as many times as possible during the interview. People love hearing their name. It's going to make you more likable. After the interview, and this is a must, I'm actually shocked that I have to say this and to report that it doesn't happen enough. Okay, this is a must 100% of the time. Within 24 hours of the interview, you must reach out to the interviewer and thank them for their time, as well as provide some additional context. Okay, so this is going to indicate that you are a professional and that you're courteous. And because others are still not doing this step, it's going to help you stand out from other candidates. I highly recommend recording a 3-minute or less video so that they can see and hear you again. Reference something specific from your conversation to show that you were engaged. This isn't just about politeness. This is another opportunity to reinforce your interest and to stand out. Next, I want you to reflect on your experience. So what went well? What would you do differently next time? Each interview is a chance to learn and grow regardless of the outcome. I worked with a client who made a practice of writing down 3 things that they were proud of after each interview, and then 1 thing that they wanted to improve. This simple reflection turned every interview, even the ones that they didn't get, that didn't lead to offers. It turned each of those opportunities into valuable learning experiences. Finally, follow up appropriately. If the interviewer gave you a clear timeline for next steps, respect that timeline before checking in. If they didn't provide a clear timeline, reach out again in 4 to 5 days with some sort of value-added follow-up, like a writing sample or an example of a work product related to that role. When reaching out, keep your communication professional and courteous. You do not want to come across as desperate or pushy, but you do want to let the interviewer know that you are still interested in the role and that you would like to know if they've made a decision. So, what if you were to take all of these strategies and really implement them? What might change for you? Today's job market may be more competitive and AI influenced than ever before, but remember, the performance aspect of interviewing is what is important here. Thinking aloud, handling pressure, communicating clearly when solving problems, all of that requires deliberate practice in conditions that mirror actual interviews. Here's what I really want you to take away from this. The goal isn't necessarily that we get the job. It's that we're really proud of the way that we show up during the process. If that's our leading indicator of success, the chance of us landing the right job actually increases. We release the pressure and we align ourselves with the right role and organization. You're choosing to show up prepared. You're choosing to be authentic and confident. You're regulating your nervous system so you can be fully present. You're doing the research and the practice so that when opportunity knocks, you're ready to open the door. Not just any door, but the right door for you. I'd love to know which of these strategies resonates with you the most. If you're looking for personalized support, please let us know. Until next time, everyone, be well.